All right, what's going on, guys? It is Sombra del Piso back once again with yet another video, part 2 of the analysis of the 12 Powers of Man written by Charles Fillmore. As we know from the first video, if you guys even seen the first video, is that Charles Fillmore was a man that existed in the 1800s, the mid 1800s, that was responsible for the co-founding of the Unity Church and was an author of many books that basically the sole premise of those books were to use the metaphysical, or that energy, that metaphysical energy within us all in order to have various effects in terms of maybe well-being, enlightenment. He has a book that's on financial prosperity, all that kind of stuff. And we know this as practitioners of semen retention, that you eventually get to all of this, right? You obtain all of these things eventually, but you have to be on the practice for a very long time and do it completely with a sound mind, right? So let's begin this analysis of the second part. Thank you. The shout out, first of all, I got to give a shout out again to the person that put me onto this book and the author at first, totally. So his name is Kazak Atman Awar. He's a follower of the channel, solid guy. Follow him on Instagram as well. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's start it, man. Let's continue. In the last video, we were talking about the 12 powers of man and how they sort of are the disciples, right, of Jesus Christ, sort of are represent those 12 powers of man that a man obtains as he's ascending on his on his personal spiritual journey. We already described those various parts, so we're going to continue with the chapter. The physiological designations of these faculties are not arbitrary. The names can be expanded or changed to suit a broader understanding of their full nature. For example, Philip, at the root of the tongue, governs taste. He also controls the actions of the larynx, as well as all vibrations of power throughout the organism. So the term power expresses but a small part of his physical capacity. The first apostle that Jesus called was Peter. Peter represents faith in things spiritual, faith in God. So it's interesting that Peter represents faith because he was the first person called to Jesus Christ to come by his side. And of course, Peter has every reason to not even follow Jesus Christ. He sees this person talking, right, however he looked like, obviously very strong voice, and complete conviction in things that are unseen. Why the heck am I gonna follow this madman? What he had was he had faith. He had faith that the words of Jesus Christ were going to be life-changing, metamorphic. I don't know if that's a word, but transformative, that's better. And he went along with Jesus Christ and then, started to recruit other disciples as well. We begin our religious experience, our unity with divine mind, by having faith in that mind as omnipresent, all-wise, all-loving, all-powerful spirit. Faith in the spiritual man quickens spiritual understanding. Peter believed that Jesus was the Messiah, right? The Messiah, the second coming, the hero, right? The savior. We all know what the Messiah is. And his faith opened his spiritual discernment, and he saw the living Christ back of the personal masks worn by Jesus. So that's the thing, guys. Let's talk about those phases just now. Peter, right? A man of faith, because he was the first disciple and decided to go along with Jesus Christ's allegedly or apparent mad sayings. He's claiming he could walk on water, he could turn water into wine and do all these miracles, but he had faith, complete conviction in this man that he knew nothing about. When you start to have faith in something, in anything, right, you then start to evolve and ascend your understanding of things. When you have faith in the ethereal, the metaphysical, eventually your mind starts to open up to every single aspect that is connected to that realm. And we know that this naturally happens on the practice of semen retention. When you are completely enveloped, even in the things of the physical, as we are occupying this physical world, you understand that the forms of these things have a utilitarian purpose, and the people who devise these purposes are not necessarily as baseless as we thought they were. Rather, they were believers of higher faith. They were believers of higher realms that decided to got that information from the higher levels, right, the worlds above, and brought them to the worlds here. Translated those things in order to create easier ways of life for men, for the world, the sons of man. Faith is transformative. Whether it be faith in a God, faith in a deity, or faith in a practice, the practice of semen retention. People could discredit this video from here to Kathmandu, right? That will happen. There will always be two sides to something. That's just going to be the fact of the matter. So what needs to happen with you, if you truly believe that this practice, right, will help you ascend and help you become a better person by incorporating the aforementioned 12 faculties in the last video into your vessel and raise your vibration and raise your personal power and your space of compassion for individuals of this world, then you must have complete faith and walk down that path without doubt. Sin dudas. That's what you need to do. You cannot turn back. You must look forward and continuously walk through that fire, that narrow path that's referenced in Matthew, the New Testament. Let's continue. When asked, who do men say that the Son of Man is? The apostles, looking upon the personality as the real, said, some say John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Then Jesus appealed to their own inner spiritual understanding, and he said, because he understood. The thing with Jesus Christ, right, is that because this world pushes so much of what was said and the stories that encapsulated Jesus Christ in the Bible, they talk about it in a very, very physical way. Jesus was crucified. Jesus he walked over water and turned bread into fish and multiplied. Stop looking at these things as physical things that literally happened. Jesus was incredibly metaphysically magnanimous. He was one of the masters spiritually, like Buddha, like Krishna, like the Trimurti, like the fourth man in Gurdjieff. He just understood things on a very, very powerful metaphysical level. And the New Testament, all of the miracles of Jesus Christ are talking and explaining those events in parables. You have to be able to see beyond the veil. When Jesus understands, he must be completely ascended on semen retention. When Jesus understands that the people within his midst are at a spiritual level, are close to that spiritual perception that he wants them to be, he then says a different parable, right? That people could understand and perceive in the way that he wants them to perceive, but not for the swine, not for the individuals that are not ascended. This is why he's so powerful. This is why semen retention is incredibly powerful, because we know with practices like these, abstaining from the world, scoffing this world, scoffing the physical nature, the physical things and the physical pleasures of this world, we get closer to what Jesus was doing. I want to be doing what this guy was. I want to be doing what the incarnations of Krishna was doing, the incarnations of Vishnu. I'm trying to get to that level, right? I don't know about y'all. That's why when you're on that practice of semen retention, you get there, but you must start with faith. You must have faith that the practice will carry you to where you want to go. Let's continue. Then Jesus appealed to their own inner spiritual understanding, and he said, but who say ye that I am? Only Simon Peter answered, thou art Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered, thou art Peter, and upon this rock, which is the first disciple, which is naturally the rock, because Jesus was all, let's get metaphysical here. Jesus represents that higher realm. He's a bridge, of course, of the higher and the earthly realms, but by himself, if he didn't have disciples, he will not be able to broadcast that message as effectively as he did with disciples. So he knows Peter has complete faith that he is the Son of the living God. Then Jesus said, upon this rock, upon this foundation, the first disciple, I will build my church, right? I will build my church. And the gates of Hades, the grave, the second death, shall not prevail against it. I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Do you know what this means? Guys, I'm telling, if some powerful individual, you could tell that he has complete conviction in his words. You can tell that he is completely high in self-control, understanding of the worlds above. He comes up to you and says, listen, I will give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. I'm giving up every single thing and I'm going to listen to this person completely. Of course I want to get to the kingdom of heaven. Why wouldn't I? What do I need to do? Tell me what I need to do and I'm going to do it. Please, what needs to begin in this journey, right, of ascension is faith. Not a lot of people have faith because in this world, in this modern physical reality, we want rewards, we want cash, we want insurance that by acting compassionate that we'll get the girl, or we'll get the job, or we'll get new friends, or we'll get a new life. Spiritual discernment of the reality of man's origin and being is the only enduring foundation of character. Let's read that again. It's a very, very powerful statement. Spiritual discernment of the reality of man's origin and being is the only enduring foundation of character. If we don't know history, we are doomed to repeat what has been done in history. All the atrocities, all the negatives, all the horrible things that happen, we are doomed to repeat it because we have not understand where we went wrong, how we went wrong, the mindsets that led us thereof, and so on and so forth. The idea of understanding who we are fundamentally, metaphysically, will lead us to the understanding of the biological imperative of the body. Yes, we understand that the reproductive system is prioritized in the human body. That means that whatever diseases that ail us in this physical reality, it first affects the reproductive system and then every other system. So what does that mean? With the reproductive system being prioritized, that means that the biological imperative is the crux of the human body. However, there is a spiritual part of it as well. When you start to forego that, of course in men, when you start to forego that need for reproduction, the need to continuously join with women, right? And just absorb all of the false ersatz rewards, wellness rewards of the modern world, of the physical reality. You then start to utilize that energy that was once meant for the biological imperatives of the body to ascending. It's almost as if they're like the magic steps in Kingdom Hearts 1, when you go into the mind of Sora, the heart of Sora or whatever, and then you start to go up and up, right? You are now given these powerful ethereal steps to ascend. That's what happens when you forego the biological imperative of the body. It was to this faith in the understanding of the real being of man that Jesus gave power in earth and heaven. It was not to the personal Peter that Jesus gave the keys to his kingdom, but to all who through faith apply the binding, affirming, and losing, denying power of spirit in the earth, substance, consciousness. Do you understand that he's got this guy? Thank you, Mr. Atwar. You have given me a very powerful book because this book is so good. It's so powerful in explaining the faculties, the true spiritual faculties that we have in all of us individuals, but that can be developed very powerfully and evolved in a very, very narrow, straight, incessant direction, right, in males. When we are on this practice of semen retention, lads, we understand that there needs to be a denial, right, a renunciation of the things of this world. All of the traditions in all the corners of the world. Nepalese people say that you gotta be married. The Spanish say that you gotta be married. The North Sentinel Island folk, they say you gotta get married. But these are all traps to keep you bound to the physical world, to stop you from ascending. You need to find ways on how to renounce, to get rid of more things that make you feel comfortable in order to find out what can be done, of course, within reason. We had a guy in the channel in one of my live streams that tried to get me to renounce meat and chicken, saying that there was a lot of other people that denied those things in order to help with spiritual development. I think that I've been doing pretty well so far, right? Considering, I eat meat, chicken, fish, and I don't feel like any sort of debilitation, any sort of lack of creative thought or anything. So I think that what matters is that you are on the practice of semen retention in earnest, and you are not sort of breaking or bending in any way. Right here and now, the great work of character building is to be done, and whoever neglects present opportunities, looking forward to a future heaven for better conditions, is pulling right away from the kingdom within himself. Oh, listen, it was like that quote. It was like, that case study, right, where there were a bunch of kids, right? This is how much common sense ascension is. There was a case study with a whole bunch of kids. There was this person that told the kids, listen, you can have 3 cookies now, but if you decide to wait an hour, I don't know the exact parameters of the situation or the case study, but it sort of goes like this, right? If you decide to wait an hour, you can get 10 cookies. So of course, many kids were just like getting the 3 cookies. Oh, it's 3 cookies, that's great. It's probably more than what my mom even gives me at home. I'm so glad I joined this case study. Aren't you too, Billy? Yeah, I can't wait to eat my 3 cookies, right? So naturally, the majority of the kids took the immediate reward. They took the 3 cookies. There was only probably, who knows, future ascetics, future ascendants, future renunciators of the world, the physical world, that decided to wait an hour for the 10 cookies, right? And then they had a better reward. Of course, no one should be consuming, especially kids, 10 cookies. That's all that refined sugar. It's horrible for you. You'll be as immobile as our leaders here, our false leaders that worship the serpent. The idea of that whole case study is that by foregoing the immediate reward, the immediate gain, you are able to gain an even greater reward. Forego the present to obtain a better reward. Let's continue. Where am I? Oh, people who live wholly in the intellect deny that man can know anything about God because they do not have quickened faith. The way to bring forth the God presence, to make oneself conscious of God, is to say, I have faith in God, I have faith in spirit, I have faith in things invisible. Such affirmations of faith, such praise to the invisible God, the unknown God, the one that does not give any physical reward if you outwardly outclaim, like even I'm doing, that he exists, that will not give you any physical reward. I have faith in spirit, I have faith in things invisible. Such affirmations of faith, such praise to the invisible God, the unknown God, will make God visible to the mind and strengthen the faith faculty. Thus faith, Peter, who's represented by Peter, is called and instructed spiritually. When a center loses its power, it should be baptized by the word of spirit. We are told in the scriptures that Philip went down to Gaza, the same as desert, and there baptized the eunuch. Gaza means a citadel of strength. It refers to the nerve center in the loins, where Andrew's strength reigns. Lo, now his strength is in his loins. Gaza is the physical throne of strength, as Jerusalem is the throne of love. Well, based on these sort of symbolic meanings of certain things, I can understand why Gaza is such a point of contention right now. Maybe there's some spiritual war going on wherein the attack on Gaza is the initiator and the propagator of the rest of the things to follow, the rest of the bad things that follow, maybe all throughout the Western world, who knows? But this is what it is. You have to fortify yourself with faith, things that are not seen. When you are able to do that, then you can now ascend. Then you will be able to perceive the things of that vibrational level, that vibrational state. The back grows weak under the burden of material thoughts. If you are given to pains in your back, if you become exhausted easily, you may know at once that you need treatment for freedom from material burdens. Eliminate from your mind all thought of the burdens of the world, the burdens of your life, and all seeming labors. Take your burdens to Christ. Come unto me, all ye that labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Christ, whether he existed or whether he didn't exist, is not the issue here. What he's saying is true. You must start to have faith in a different level, of a different source. Things that are not being praised here. Beauty standards, whether that person's a male or he's not a male, or the altar of politics that encapsulates all the aforementioned things. You need to have faith in something else, and these things will not matter, for there are temporary issues that are meant to keep us in perpetual discord amongst each other, amongst the fellow sons of man. You are meant to have faith in the other realms, faith in the practice of semen retention, to be able to perceive the other realms and to develop all the various faculties in your body in order to ascend and permanently remain there, or perhaps broadcast that way to the individuals of this planet. You can only do so much, right? But I'm enjoying myself, and I know that this feels right, so I gotta keep doing it. We are pressed upon by ideas of materiality. I said this. Sorry, Mr. Atwar, I didn't need to get your recommendation for this book in order to even talk about this thing and broadcast this thing. We are slaves in this modern world to the idea of materialism. That is the ultimate God. Materialism will come, if there was a second coming of materialism, it would be draped in Louis Vuitton with Carolina Herrera / Thomas Meyer loafers, and the face is going to be the face of many colors representing various politics politics in order to keep us in perpetual contention with each other. We are slaves to this God of materialism. We refuse, we have even eschewed the name of the Lord, of the idea of the other realms. It doesn't need to have a name, Lord, Jesus Christ, Krishna, nothing. We have decided to do away with that God, with that idea of higher levels in order to worship things of the physical, sex, clothes, having more than the other, eating more than the other. This is what we've done now. And this defines most of our personalities. This defines who we are, what we need to say and what we need to do, or how we need to act in certain situations that we perceive are of various levels of understanding of this almighty God of materialism. This is the problem. Let's continue. Thoughts make things, and the material ideas that are pressing upon us are just as substantial in the realm of mind as material things are substantial in the realm of matter. Everything has origin in thought, and material thoughts will bring forth material things. So you should baptize and cleanse yourself with the spiritual word every center, as Philip baptized the eunuch of Gaza. Baptism is cleaning. It will always represent the erasing power of the mind. What needs to be done, we're gonna stop here. Final thoughts on this is that everything begins with faith. We are steeped, we are surrounded, we are sunken in the mire of materialism and lack of faith and lack of belief in the worlds above or the things of the spirit. We worship politics, we worship gender politics, materialism, sensualism, everything that's worshiping of the body, of the basis level, the lowest levels of existence. We are not interested in things of faith. We are not interested in ascension. And sure as hell, the catalyst, the catalytic action, practice that is responsible for understanding of the things of the above, semen retention, is definitely eschewed by humanity. This is just the way it is. But we know it even makes it easier to the people that are trying to ascend in this world, because we know that path is not even occupied at all. There's no one loitering outside the gate leading down semen retention. So we know that has to be the correct way. As Mark Twain said, if you notice yourself doing what the majority of people are doing, it's time to do an introspective look on your life, because most likely it is wrong. And with that being said, that's all I have to say to you guys today. If you enjoyed that content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. We're gonna probably continue this in a part 3, because there's a lot of stuff to be unpacked in this chapter, and I have a lot of things to say about it. Shout out to Mr. Anwar, for hooking me up with this book. We're gonna continue in the next video. Don't ever let this place get you down. We are, like I said, we are in the mire of materialism and the darkness, like the shadowy worlds, the shadowy forms. Dark times ahead. Don't let them escape, right? As to quote Terra Xehanort, a person from Kingdom Hearts that has given up his light journey in exchange for power. And of course, he had a lot of insecurities and whatnot, which sort of led him, that sort of led him to Master Xehanort. But we're gonna talk about that in another video. Stay radiant. I shall see you guys in the next video.